Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to D Dub's Dolphins Dialogue. And today was day one of minicamp for the Miami Dolphins, the greatest franchise in the NFL. And believe me, it was drama filled. And we're going to get right into it about that drama and whether that drama has started a firestorm for the franchise. So here we have day one of minicamp, and we have a firestorm with respect to Tua, and then another brewing hurricane with respect to Xavier Howard, and how these two will mesh for the season is to be determined. But there has been a plethora of comments, concerns about those two issues. So I would like to give everybody an opportunity to speak on behalf of their feelings with respect to the Miami Dolphins and these two issues. Uh, I myself, I think that the Tua hurricane or Tua firestorm that has started uh, is something that is a concern, but not one of uh, the magnitude of something that's going to linger for the duration of the of mini camp, training camp, and the season. Uh, when you think about what this young man has been through, uh, you have to realize that there's been a lot of changes and a lot of adjustments that have occurred in the in his process, and um, I just don't see that his struggles today being a lingering long term issue for the Miami Dolphins. Uh, when you think about what was going on today, his first time without, trying to figure out what a tight window is like for uh, for the system that he's running, and getting used to the players, new assets on the team. You really you can give him a pass for this one practice. It's practice. This is where you make the mistakes. This is where you want to have the correctable events to be occurring now rather than uh, in a game, because in the game it could cost the game, and you don't want that. You'd rather that his his mistakes happen in minicamp, in training camp, so that way when the season begins, he's hitting on all cylinders. Now you have this issue with Xavier Howard, where he didn't show up at minicamp, which was mandatory this time. Mandatory these next 3 days: Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And if he misses or chooses not to show up to all three minicamp events, he's subject to fines upwards to $93,000. Must be nice to be able to blow off uh, that amount of money just because you want to renegotiate a contract that you've already chosen to extend slash renegotiate a year, more than almost a year, 2 years ago. Uh, I think that Xavier Howard uh, is caught up in his own situation where he failed not to want to bet on himself and chose the money instead up front. And now he's wishing that he had bet on himself because once the uh, once the cornerback market was readjusted because of Byron Jones and Jalen Ramsey, he's now not the top cornerback in the league, and thus he feels slighted. Now, granted, he had an outstanding year. Some considered defensive player of the year type year that he put up. But that being said, you can't renegotiate a renegotiated or extended contract just because the market has changed. I mean, if that was the case, that would set a crazy precedent for the league, and every year players would be wanting to renegotiate their contracts, and by the same token, uh, open up a Pandora's box with respect to the salary cap. I mean, think about how when you manage a cap, you're looking at things not just for today, but looking for ways to save and manage money for tomorrow, for the next year, 2 and 3 years down the line. And when you sign somebody to a contract after you've extended them, you've already allocated a certain amount of money, and then you've changed your plan with respect to other players. And for Xavier Howard to want to renegotiate again could cause you to lose out on other players on your team and or other players that come available in the future. So uh, this issue with respect to Xavier Howard uh, is kind of explosive, where it's not uh, conducive for team stability uh, or league stability, because again, if players are allowed to go get their bag every year and renegotiate their contract every year, uh, there's no way to really truly manage a salary cap. Uh, I am hopeful that some people will uh, see that. I know all they want to do is pay X, pay X, pay X, pay X. But what you don't realize is that uh, players are coming down the pipe that are going to want to be re-signed, and whether you feel as though they should be re-signed or not, that's a whole nother topic. But when you think about what you have available with respect to financial assets, and you've already designated a certain amount towards re-signing players that you have for possibly making upgrades at certain positions, because you've seen now maybe after a year, 2 years that, hey, this player is not working out. It's good we have uh, assets available to be able to make an upgrade. Uh, you want to then utilize those assets to make those moves. But now, if Xavier Howard is able to renegotiate an already renegotiated extended contract, that throws your plans off considerably and handicaps you from being able to make that move. So that's why I am of the belief that this situation can't go on for a long period of time. I mean, because as you know, most of the time the only leverage the players have is to hold out. Now, uh, if he does hold out for an extended period of time beyond minicamp, I think that will be the incentive for the Dolphins to possibly make a trade for Xavier Howard or trade Xavier Howard because even though they may not want to, they would have to at that point in time push Igbenogany into a more prominent role, uh, juggle a few players' roles for picking up the uh, the task that Xavier Howard does perform for the Miami Dolphins. Push that timetable up, maybe a year, but I can't see them actually wanting to uh, renegotiate a already renegotiated contract. That would set a terrible precedent for not only the Miami Dolphins, but for the entire NFL, where people would still be able to renegotiate already negotiated contracts, and it would cause chaos for GMs. Laro, I see you in the comment section. What's up, man? Uh, I don't believe that the Dolphins are a last place team, but I know that hate is coming from the fact that from the Houston Texans that you're a fan of, that you're just hating on everything that the Dolphins are about right now. So I understand where that's coming from. I understand that. And welcome, 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 welcome. Everybody is welcome here, whether you are a Dolphin fan or a Dolphin hater. You are welcome. Okay, you are always welcome. Big time. What's up? What's going on, man? Another subscriber of mine. Thank you very much. Well, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Uh, but getting back to the Xavier Howard situation, uh, I just don't see it as a long term situation that the Dolphins want to get into, where you're constantly negotiating with a player on a year-to-year basis. I mean, remember, uh, Xavier Howard sat out a year after he signed a big contract, got paid, collected that money, and didn't give the Dolphins anything with respect to his services because of that injury. So I really think that X is overstepping in this situation where uh, he's got to somewhat own up to the fact that he made a tactical mistake with his career with respect to taking that money up front and going for that money rather than betting on himself for an even uh, bigger opportunity in the future. So now he's got to sit there and either take that or uh, maybe move on to another team. But what would the Dolphins get for Xavier Howard? What do you think would be good compensation for Xavier Howard if they were to trade him? I mean, do you think he's worth two first round draft picks? Is he worth three? Is he worth a first and a second? Is he worth two second round picks? Uh, with that contract, are you trading him for what? For what type of player? The Dolphins need a center. Dolphins could possibly need an inside linebacker or uh, a tackle or another edge rusher. I mean, what would you trade for him? Who would you trade for him? These are all questions that Greer and Flores probably have already contemplated over the course of the past few months, because I'm sure, I should say, I'm sure that they've already had these type of conversations where uh, Xavier Howard's status, one way or the other, is discussed. Uh, so I'd like to know what y'all think. I'm gonna put the link in the comment section and see what y'all think. Just give me a second. Let me see if this is working. This will be the first time, and I did put it in the chat room. So anybody who would like to come up and have a conversation with me regarding the Xavier Howard situation, or if you want to talk to her, I know Laro, you've had some hard feelings about Tua for a while, and believe me, if you want to come up and talk, here's the opportunity. I dropped the link. Uh, some of the things that came out of uh, today's mini camp day one, 5 interceptions for Tua today. You know, whether they were his fault, all his fault, or not, in total, 5 interceptions for Tua and another one attributed to Jacoby Brissett. That is not a good day for the offense. And whether it's day one of minicamp or day 45 of training camp, you want to have those days in minicamp and in training camp. You do not want that type of performance uh, during the season. Okay, you don't want 5 interceptions in a game. That puts too much stress and pressure on the defense, and it can cause some uh, lack of confidence from the coaching staff and the players. But if he is going to have a 5 interception day, this was the day to have it during this time, during minicamp or during training camp, not during the NFL season. Uh, when you think about what he struggled with last year and how the national perception of Tua is right now, it would be in his best situation or his to come out firing on all cylinders. But if he can't, at the very least, let him work out the kinks during this time period because you don't want it to be during the season. Okay? Because we want to win. The Dolphins, as far as projections are concerned, a lot of fans have them winning the division and going further. So the fans' expectations can't be met if two is throwing 2, 3, 4, 5 interceptions a game. So it's better to have him work out these kinks, test out what windows are available on which plays so that he can build the confidence and know how and when and where for each of these plays that because he's got a new offensive playbook, one that was created just for his talents. He's going to have to figure out under most situations what is the best course of action for him and for the team. And it's better for him to work that out now than during the season. So uh, when you also think about the X situation, again, everybody points to the 10 interceptions. Okay. But it's very rare that you have double digit interceptions 2 years in a row, 3 years in a row. So to expect Xavier Howard to have double digit interceptions in a season is probably not fair to X. But by the same token, he needs to improve in certain places, and that's with every player. they need to improve on things. They know what they need to improve on with respect to run support, uh, percentage completed in the, for the areas that they are responsible for, and those are things that he can improve on. The fact that he's showing some discontent because Byron Jones is getting paid more than him, well, then he needs to have that conversation. He should have had that conversation with his previous agent, because I know he's got a new agent now, but he should have had that discussion, that tactical discussion previously. Uh, Normally, I am with the players with respect to holding out, but in this particular situation, I'm really I'm really having some difficulty with X because he already had renegotiated and extended his contract to get more money guaranteed up front, and then for him to come back and try to double dip in that bag again, uh, that really doesn't show a lot. It shows a lot of gall, shows a lot of chutzpah, but I don't think that is the correct way to do things with respect to uh, the team. Now I know that players have a very small window with respect to how long they can play in the NFL, but when you have already negotiated a contract to get more money, and then a year after that you want to renegotiate again, that's something, it's hardly ever been done in the NFL. So when you think about the precedent that Xavier Howard would be trying to set, it would be uh, historical, to say the least, that he would be able to do something like that. And like I said previously, it would probably cause a lot of uh, reshuffling of the Dolphins roster, not only for 2022, but for 2023 as well, if they were going to acquiesce to Xavier Howard's demands for a new contract right now. Uh, and maybe Xavier Howard should have seen the tea leaves with respect to the Noah Igbenogany draft selection, and maybe he should think about taking his services somewhere else. I know that the Dolphins would like to keep him, and Coach Flores has already come out and said that. But when you uh, have a situation where now the coach has said that he wants to keep you, but you want to try to renegotiate an already renegotiated contract, it's kind of tough. It's kind of tough. Uh, Kind of tough indeed. Uh, just to move off of that subject, uh, I would like to also have a conversation regarding the offensive line. Everybody talks about that Tua. It's important for Tua. It's the number one thing for Tua to show improvement, to make that leap. Well, Tua can't make that leap if you have three or possibly four persons on the offensive line that are fairly new to either their position and or starting on the offensive line. And that's a that's going to be a big risk for the Dolphins. I mean, when you think about moving Robert Hunt to guard, so that's a new position. Possibly Michael Dieter taking on the center position. Okay, that's a new position for him. And you also have Liam Eichenberg coming in, possibly taking the right tackle position. Those three right there, new positions. uh, or new to the league, and you're gonna have Tua's success dependent upon that situation, because no matter what tools you have with respect to the wide receiver, the running back, you need to have strength and continuity and good communication on the offensive line. And if you can't have that, or if you don't have it in a way that is conducive to success for the quarterback, for the wide receivers, and the running back, it doesn't matter how much talent that they have, you will eventually be held back because of the offensive line uh, deficiencies. So there's a lot of things right now that need to be worked out on in the Miami Dolphins offense and Miami Dolphins team overall with respect to the offensive line, Tua, Xavier Howard. All these things could pose to become a storm for the Dolphins, or it could be worked out and we could have clear sailings and calm waters, and the season goes off without a hitch. Uh, as a fan, I'm very hopeful that it will be calm and successful. But when you have some haters out there like my boy Laro, you may indeed have to endure some hard times to ultimately get to the success that you want. Uh, Tua's Tua's fortunes is going to depend on that offensive line, and everybody's talking about Liam Eichenberg possibly being at right tackle. Uh, but what if it's best for the Dolphins that he starts at guard, that he's the left guard or the right guard? I mean, does that mean that he's a failure? No, but it does cause uh, the team to have a probably a smoother process for those, especially for those first four games, if he's at the guard position. Some people might be disappointed in the fact that he's not playing tackle. Uh, we shall see. I would have liked to have known from today's events how the offensive line was established, because they did allow some pressures, and they did allow some hurries, and some, if it was an actual game, some sacks as well. So uh, it would be interesting to know exactly how the the uh, the offensive line was constituted, just to see first of all how they see it, and whether or not that initial plan worked out, and whether or not they need to have maybe make some adjustments to it. Uh, when you have these many young players at the offensive line position, uh, you may have some ups and downs. Uh, that is why one of the good things that happened, I think it was yesterday, that the Dolphins signed a experienced, and I say that with air quotes, experienced offensive lineman, a tackle from that used to play for the New England Patriots, where he has started uh, 8 games, I think, last year, and a couple of more games in the previous season, so that he has some experience playing and starting on the offensive line. And you could never have too many big uglies up there in the front that have some experience, just to stabilize some things. But if the the outlook for the offensive line with all the youngsters doesn't come to fruition day one, that doesn't mean that those draft picks were a failure. It just means that at that particular time they didn't. uh, they don't have what it takes at that moment. Doesn't mean that they're failures, but would I like to see uh, the offensive line with the youngsters? Yes, because that way they're gaining experience as they go, and hopefully they can keep Tua upright, keep his pocket clean, and so that Tua can have the success that he needs to be able to showcase his talents, so that uh, persons like my boy Laro can stop hating on Tua, even though I know that Laro has talked about Tua's hip injury, and that it was serious, and that uh, you know he might not have picked him at that point, but uh, with more than a year and change removed from that injury, Tua has looked physically fit, and by uh, team reports, he's looking very well, showing mobility. Uh, you have to look at it as a positive situation, and one that uh, Tua can grow from, and that Tua will be successful in the future if he's given the offensive line and the weapons to be successful. Now he's been given some new weapons, and it's up to the offensive line to provide him with the time and protection to showcase that he can be successful in the NFL. And I think that he's going to be able to do it. I really think so. Um, you don't have the type of career that he had at Alabama and not be able to transition that into the NFL. I think that there were a lot of uh, distractions for Tua last year. A lot of time that he had to spend rehabbing, where he wasn't able to focus on the playbook as much as he would like to. And although he didn't know the playbook really, really well like he wanted to, uh, I think that he had a season where he was able to build off of that and be successful going forward. And again, like I said, it's just a matter of whether or not the offensive line can show the stoutness and communication to be able to provide the protection for Tua. So let me know in the comment section what you think so far. Uh, I have uh, been doing this now for about a week, 2 weeks, and uh, trying to keep up with everything with the Dolphins and with other facets of my life. And if I need to make some improvements with the equipment, if I need to make improvements with the sound, let me know, so that way I can make those improvements. Uh, just like the Dolphins, there are things that I have to improve on, and I can only do that with feedback from y'all. So if there's something that you think I need to change, please let me know, and I will try and put those improvements into actionable items and get them done as soon as possible. Uh, when you start out with a new channel, you think about all the things that you want to do, and you think about the things that you can do, and then you try to come up with a happy medium between those two and the YouTube requirements. So I'm trying to get all that meshed together to form a successful channel. So if there's any comments, please let me know. Uh, but now that we've had that channel public service announcement, let's get back to the Dolphins. Okay, uh, there was a lot of players that were noted in comments today. Hunter Long had a couple of good plays for the Dolphins today in minicamp. I believe that Hunter Long is probably gonna necessitate a trade and or uh, a non-renewal of Jasecki's contract. Uh, the fact that he's able to be the blocker that Jasecki isn't, as well as hopefully run better routes and not just be a 50-50 ball contested catch receiver, but be a all around tight end bodes well for Hunter Long, and uh, there will be enough opportunities for Hunter Long to uh, showcase his blocking and his route running in this offense, because I believe that the Dolphins want to run the ball a lot more than what they did last year and be more successful than they were last year. And with that being said, the fact that he was able to showcase his hands today, with already knowing that he can block, that doesn't bode well for the free agency or pending free agency and pending desire for a new contract for Mike Gesicki. Uh, I believe that Gesicki, uh, he probably he should also be seeing the writing on the wall. And it was interesting to me today that he had on the red jersey showing that nobody they didn't want to that he was not to be contacted with at all. I wonder why they did that. Was it because he has some injury? Because he's a tight end, you normally don't have the red shirt on the uh, on the tight ends, but he had on the red jersey today, and I'm wondering if they wanted to protect him from injury because he might be trade bait. Who knows? Who knows? But it was just interesting, something that I took away from the notes today. Uh, Also, Jalen Phillips, although he had a great play where he provided some pressure, I think he might have contacted some players when he shouldn't have, and he ended up uh, running some laps around the facility. So although I like the rookie's exuberance, sometimes you have to temper that exuberance and put a point across enforce a point by a little bit of discipline. And um, I'm hoping that that doesn't deter his exuberance, but that he learns from that situation, and uh, can provide the uh, the pass rushing talents to a team that really needs it, because they want to be able to provide that pass rush without blitzing as much as they did last year. Uh, they were sixth in blitzing the quarterback with respect to the amount of times they blitzed, and they would love to bring that number of blitzes down percentage wise, so that way they could get a pass rush without the blitz, and further limit the opportunities that a QB has with respect to throwing the ball. So when uh, Jalen Phillips can combine that exuberance with discipline, they will have. They already have a great talent, but uh, they want him to be able to temper that with a little control in the mini camp and the training camp. So that was another thing that was brought up in some of the notes that I saw from various sources on Twitter. Uh, but I think I'm gonna end the broadcast now. And I'll probably come back on in about 15, 20 minutes because I did say on the show that I was going to show up and come on live at 4:30. So I think people are anticipating me coming on at 4:30. So I'll be back at 4:30. Thanks again and have a good day.